The geological formation of the North American continent is a process spanning eons. This demonstrates immense periods of Earth's history, far beyond mere years. This extended time frame allowed for the accumulation of significant geological changes. These changes progressively sculpted the landforms we observe today. Tectonic shifts involve the movement and collision of massive plates, forming Earth's crust. These geological processes have occurred over millennia, fundamentally shaping continental landmasses. The movements generate immense forces within the Earth's crust. These powerful forces cause the crust to uplift and fold, creating mountains and other features. This continuous activity has been crucial in the evolution of Earth's geography. Glacial cycles involve vast sheets of ice expanding and contracting over land. These movements are known as glacial advances and retreats. Such glaciation cycles profoundly sculpted the Earth's surface. They carved valleys, deposited sediments, and altered drainage patterns across continents. Geological forces shape continental landmasses over vast periods. These forces result in diverse topographical features across continents. One common outcome is the formation of extensive central plains. These plains often provide large areas of fertile land. The flatness of these central regions creates a stark contrast. This contrast is evident when compared to adjacent mountainous terrains. Ancient mountain ranges form the eastern border of the continent. Their presence signifies very old geological activity in the region. These ranges have endured significant erosion over vast periods of time. Erosion is a natural process involving the wearing away of rock and soil. This prolonged erosion has resulted in their less jagged appearance. They appear smoother and more rounded compared to younger mountain formations. The western part of the continent is characterized by younger, towering mountain peaks. These majestic formations are a result of recent and intense geological uplift. The term younger refers to their relatively recent formation in geological timescales. Their recent formation contributes to their rugged and high elevation characteristics. Intense geological forces have shaped these ranges, creating dramatic landscapes. These features distinguish them from older, more eroded mountain systems elsewhere. Diverse geography, encompassing varied terrains and climates, profoundly shapes human history. These geographical features dictate the course of human development and settlement patterns. Different regions present unique challenges for human habitation and resource acquisition. Conversely, these regions also offer distinct opportunities for societal growth and innovation. The interplay between geography and human activity is a fundamental aspect of historical evolution. Understanding this influence is crucial for comprehending historical trajectories and societal structures. The first human populations in North America originated from Siberia. This migration occurred during the last glacial period. A land bridge, known as Beringia, connected Asia and North America. Beringia facilitated the movement of early humans across continents. Archaeological findings provide evidence of this ancient migration route. Genetic studies further support the Siberian origin of these populations. During the last glacial period, Earth experienced a significant ice age. Vast amounts of oceanic water became trapped in massive ice sheets. This process led to a substantial global sea level drop. The reduced sea levels exposed land bridges connecting continents. Beringia was an ancient land bridge connecting Asia and North America during glacial periods. This exposed landmass facilitated the movement of early human populations. Nomadic hunter-gatherer societies undertook extensive migrations across Beringia. Their movements were primarily driven by the pursuit of game animals for sustenance. These groups also sought favorable environmental conditions, such as milder climates. These migrations were crucial for the peopling of the Americas. The Clovis culture represents one of the earliest well-documented populations in North America. They are identified by their distinctive fluted stone points, a unique archaeological marker. These characteristic artifacts provide crucial evidence of their presence. The Clovis artifacts date back approximately 13,000 years, indicating their ancient origins. Following initial migrations, early human populations began to spread across the North American continent. This process of dispersion occurred over many millennia, gradually covering vast geographical areas. The movement resulted in a wide geographical spread of human settlements across the landmass. This dispersion pattern established the foundational distribution of early human presence in the region. As human populations expanded and migrated, they dispersed across diverse geographical regions. This dispersal led to a significant diversification of cultural practices among different groups. Unique cultural traits emerged, reflecting the specific challenges and resources of each environment. Technological innovations also developed, tailored to meet the demands of various ecological niches. This diversification was a direct adaptive response to the distinct environmental conditions encountered. Such adaptations allowed human societies to thrive in a wide array of natural habitats. Indigenous groups in the arid Southwest faced significant environmental challenges in ancient times. The region was characterized by harsh desert conditions and extremely limited water resources. These environmental pressures necessitated the development of innovative survival strategies. Such strategies were crucial for sustaining life in communities in this challenging landscape. The Ancestral Puebloans developed unique architectural solutions in the arid Southwest. They engineered complex, multi-story dwellings directly into sandstone cliff faces. These structures were a direct adaptation to the challenging desert climate. The cliff dwellings provided inherent natural defense against external threats. They also offered effective shelter and climate control within the harsh environment. Ancient societies developed sophisticated irrigation systems to sustain themselves. These systems were crucial for cultivating staple crops like maize, beans, and squash. They enabled agriculture in otherwise unforgiving climates. This demonstrates advanced agricultural engineering from early civilizations. The Mississippi River Valley, a region of abundant water and rich soil, fostered a unique societal development. This fertile environment supported distinct forms of settlement patterns. Agricultural practices in the valley were also uniquely adapted to its natural resources. The availability of resources allowed for a different societal structure to emerge. This led to the development of a civilization distinct from other ancient societies. The Mississippian culture is renowned for its construction of massive earthwork mounds. These earthworks served diverse functions within their civilization. They were utilized as ceremonial centers, residential areas, and burial sites. The construction of these earthworks is a defining characteristic of the Mississippian culture. Cahokia was a significant urban center in North America, near present-day St. Louis. In the 12th century, Cahokia supported a population comparable to contemporary European cities. This indicates a highly organized societal structure within the Cahokian civilization. The large population suggests advanced urban planning and resource management. Cahokia stands as evidence of a complex and populous pre-Columbian society. Pre-Columbian indigenous societies developed sophisticated trade networks. These networks facilitated the extensive exchange of various goods. Beyond goods, they also enabled the sharing of ideas and cultural practices. Crucially, resources were distributed across vast geographical distances. These established trade routes connected numerous diverse communities. The networks fostered inter-community relationships and mutual interdependence. Indigenous societies developed and maintained complex political structures. These structures demonstrate sophisticated social organization within their communities. They also reflect advanced leadership systems inherent to indigenous governance. The primary function of these political frameworks was to maintain order. Furthermore, they effectively managed relations between different groups. These systems highlight the intricate nature of indigenous societal management. Indigenous populations developed a profound understanding of local botany. This knowledge encompassed practical applications of plants for various needs. Plants were utilized as sources for food, medicine, and essential materials. Such expertise was fundamental for their survival and overall well-being. Indigenous communities possessed extensive knowledge of the continent's diverse wildlife. This expertise included a deep understanding of animal behaviors and migration patterns. They mastered various hunting techniques, ensuring successful resource acquisition. Such knowledge was crucial for effective hunting and sustainable resource management. Before European contact, pre-Columbian societies thrived across the continent. These societies comprised populations numbering in the millions. They exhibited immense cultural diversity. A key aspect of this diversity was the presence of hundreds of distinct languages. Each language represented a unique cultural heritage and worldview. This linguistic richness underscored the continent's vibrant and varied human landscape. The 15th century marked a pivotal era for European history, fundamentally altering its trajectory. This transformation was primarily driven by significant advancements in maritime technology. These innovations enabled European mariners to undertake voyages of unprecedented length and ambition. New ship designs offered greater stability and capacity for long-distance travel. Improved navigational tools allowed for more accurate charting and course-keeping across oceans. Collectively, these technological leaps facilitated exploration, trade, and global expansion. European exploration was primarily driven by compelling economic imperatives. A key motivation was the urgent need to discover alternative trade routes to Asia. This quest was fueled by the high and sustained demand for valuable Eastern goods. Finding new routes would bypass existing monopolies and reduce costs. In 1492, Christopher Columbus embarked on a voyage sponsored by the Spanish crown. His expedition led to his landfall in the Caribbean region. This event is historically recognized as a pivotal moment in global history. It marked the initiation of direct and sustained contact between Europe and the Americas. This contact fundamentally altered the course of history for both continents. The Columbian Exchange refers to a significant historical period of global transfer. It involved an unprecedented exchange between the Eastern and Western hemispheres. This exchange included the transfer of various plants and animals across continents. Human populations, technologies, and diseases were also part of this vast movement. The scale of this transfer was massive, impacting societies worldwide. Ultimately, the Columbian Exchange led to profound and lasting global consequences. The arrival of previously unknown diseases in the Americas had devastating consequences. Indigenous populations faced pathogens against which they had no natural immunity. These introduced diseases were entirely new to the continent's inhabitants. The lack of prior exposure led to widespread and catastrophic outbreaks. Consequently, indigenous populations experienced massive demographic declines. These pathogens profoundly altered the social and cultural landscapes of the Americas. The 16th century marked a period of extensive Spanish exploration across the Americas. Spanish expeditions specifically targeted the southern tier of the continent. These ventures were driven by multiple strategic objectives. A primary goal was the exploration of new lands, seeking resources and routes. Another key objective involved claiming newly discovered territories for the Spanish crown. Expeditions also aimed to establish outposts, securing Spanish presence and control. St. Augustine, Florida, was established by the Spanish in 1565. It holds the distinction of being the oldest, continuously occupied European established settlement. This settlement is located within the borders of the continental United States. Its founding marked the beginning of a durable European presence in the region. In the early 17th century, English colonization efforts began to establish a presence in North America. These endeavors primarily focused on the eastern seaboard of the continent. Various factors motivated these colonization efforts, driving English expansion overseas. A significant motivation was the pursuit of new economic opportunities and wealth. Another key driver was the desire for religious freedom and the establishment of new communities. The Atlantic coast's unique geography played a crucial role in European settlement. Key features included numerous natural harbors, providing safe anchorages for ships. Navigable rivers also characterized the region, extending deep into the interior. These rivers served as vital arteries for exploration, trade, and transportation. Together, these geographical advantages greatly facilitated the establishment of settlements. In 1607, the Virginia Company initiated the establishment of Jamestown. This marked the founding of the first permanent English settlement in North America. The early years of Jamestown were characterized by significant challenges. These challenges included disease, famine, and conflicts with indigenous populations. Despite adversity, Jamestown laid the groundwork for future English colonization. Early settlements often faced precarious survival due to economic instability. The cultivation of tobacco emerged as a crucial factor for economic stabilization. Tobacco became a highly profitable export crop, generating significant revenue. This provided a viable economic foundation, ensuring the settlement's continued existence. The economic model of the era tragically led to the establishment of chattel slavery. This system involved the forced transportation of enslaved Africans to the continent. Their primary purpose was to provide intensive agricultural labor. This labor was crucial for the cultivation of crops, particularly tobacco. Chattel slavery was a foundational element of the agricultural economy. The Plymouth colony was established in 1620, marking a significant event in early American history. It was founded by English Puritans, a religious group seeking freedom from persecution. These settlers aimed to create a society based on their strict religious principles and beliefs. The colony's establishment represented a quest for religious autonomy in the New World. The New England colonies developed a distinct economic model. This economy was characterized by its mixed development, unlike southern colonies. A significant component was the timber industry, utilizing abundant forest resources. Fishing also formed a crucial pillar, exploiting rich Atlantic waters. Maritime trade further bolstered the economy, connecting New England to global markets. The region's rocky soil presented significant challenges for agricultural development. A shorter growing season further limited the potential for large-scale farming. These environmental factors restricted extensive agricultural practices. Consequently, the region developed a diversified economic base beyond agriculture. By the mid-18th century, 13 British colonies were established along the Atlantic coast. These colonies were geographically diverse, spanning from New England to the southern regions. Each colony developed distinct economic, social, and political characteristics. Despite their differences, all 13 shared a common colonial relationship with Great Britain. This relationship involved governance, trade, and cultural ties to the mother country. During the colonial era, populations experienced exponential growth. This rapid increase was primarily fueled by a high rate of natural increase. Continuous immigration also played a significant role in population expansion. The growing population led to the expansion of settlements into new territories. Increased numbers of people generated a higher demand for essential resources. This growth reshaped the demographic and geographical landscape of the colonies. Colonial development fostered the emergence of complex, localized economies. These economies were characterized by their specialization in particular goods or industries. Each colonial region often focused on producing specific resources or manufactured items. Despite their unique specializations, these localized economies maintained interconnections. Trade and exchange networks linked these distinct economic units together. This created a system where economies were both independent and interdependent. Colonial governance often involved the establishment of legislative assemblies within territories. These assemblies were granted semi-autonomous status, allowing for a degree of local self-governance. This structure permitted colonists to manage certain internal affairs, distinct from direct imperial control. Such institutions fostered a nascent sense of political identity among the colonial populations. This identity was separate from, and often in contrast to, direct British imperial authority. The French and Indian War concluded in 1763, marking a pivotal moment in North American history. This conflict significantly reshaped the geopolitical landscape of the continent. It involved major European colonial powers vying for control over vast territories. The war's outcome had profound and lasting consequences for all involved nations. Specifically, it led to substantial shifts in colonial possessions and influence. The conclusion set the stage for future conflicts and political developments in the region. Following a significant conflict, Britain emerged as the dominant power in eastern North America. This victory led to a substantial expansion of British territorial claims across the continent. The war's outcome solidified British control over vast new regions. Consequently, British influence in North America increased considerably. This marked a pivotal shift in the geopolitical landscape of the region. Prolonged conflicts often lead to significant financial strain on nations. The British Empire, for instance, accumulated massive national debt from extended warfare. This substantial financial burden had far-reaching consequences. It directly influenced the formulation of British policies. These policies were particularly directed towards its colonial territories. The British Parliament sought to impose taxes on the American colonies. These taxation attempts followed the conclusion of the French and Indian War. The primary objective was to raise revenue to cover war debts and defense costs. However, these taxes were levied without colonial representation in Parliament. This lack of representation became a central grievance for the colonists. Consequently, these tax measures were met with widespread resistance and protest. The imposition of taxes without colonial consent ignited a profound constitutional crisis. Colonists asserted that taxation without representation directly violated their rights. They argued these were fundamental rights guaranteed to them as British subjects. This perceived infringement fueled widespread discontent and resistance among the populace. The dispute escalated into significant political tension between the colonies and Great Britain. This crisis underscored the growing divide over governance and representation within the empire. The philosophical underpinnings of the conflict were deeply rooted in the European Enlightenment. Enlightenment ideas provided intellectual justification for colonial grievances. These concepts challenged traditional authority and promoted individual rights. Thinkers advocated for liberty, equality, and self-governance. This intellectual framework fueled revolutionary sentiments and actions. The concept of self-governance was significantly shaped by influential thinkers. Intellectuals and colonial leaders drew upon the writings of prominent philosophers. Key figures included John Locke, known for his theories on natural rights. Montesquieu's ideas on the separation of powers also played a crucial role. Their collective theories provided foundational arguments for advocating self-rule. John Locke's philosophy introduced the concept of natural rights, fundamental to Enlightenment thought. These rights are inherent entitlements belonging to all humans by virtue of their existence. Locke asserted these rights are inalienable, meaning they cannot be surrendered or taken away. This principle became a cornerstone for colonial arguments against British policies. It provided a philosophical basis for challenging governmental authority that infringed upon these rights. The social contract theory is a foundational concept in political philosophy and governance. It posits that government legitimacy is derived from the consent of the governed. This framework provided a powerful basis for challenging authoritarian rule. It establishes a reciprocal relationship between rulers and the ruled, based on mutual agreement. Montesquieu's theory of the separation of powers is a foundational concept in political philosophy. It advocates for the division of governmental authority into distinct branches. This principle was designed to prevent the concentration of power within a single entity. The separation of powers serves as a critical safeguard against potential tyranny. This theory significantly influenced the structural design of American political institutions. The ideological framework for American independence culminated in the summer of 1776. The Continental Congress formally adopted the Declaration of Independence in Philadelphia. This pivotal document articulated the American colonies' grievances against British rule. It asserted the fundamental right of the colonies to self-determination and sovereignty. The declaration marked a definitive break, establishing the United States as an independent nation. The Declaration of Independence marked a formal break from Great Britain. It articulated the colonies' intention to establish a new, independent nation. This document served as a decisive severing of political ties. It signaled the birth of a sovereign entity, free from British rule. The principle of consent of the governed is a cornerstone of democratic governance. It asserts that government's legitimate authority is derived solely from the people it governs. This foundational concept underscores popular sovereignty, where power resides with the populace. It ensures governmental legitimacy and accountability to the citizens' will. The American Revolutionary War was a protracted conflict. It spanned several years, demonstrating its strategic complexity. The duration demanded significant perseverance from the colonial forces. This sustained effort was crucial for achieving independence. Colonial forces frequently relied on external support to maintain control and prosecute conflicts. A critical aspect of this support often involved direct military intervention from France. This intervention provided crucial military aid, including troops, strategic planning, and weaponry. Naval power from France was also a significant factor, controlling sea lanes and projecting force. Such alliances and resources were instrumental in altering the course and outcome of colonial wars. The conflict involved significant efforts from both colonial forces and their allies. These combined efforts gradually eroded British political will to sustain the war. The ongoing conflict was perceived as increasingly costly and geographically distant. This exhaustion of political will necessitated a re-evaluation of their war strategy. The high costs and distance ultimately influenced Britain's strategic decisions. The Treaty of Paris, signed in 1783, marked a pivotal moment in global history. This significant document formally concluded the American Revolutionary War. It officially recognized the independence of the United States of America. The treaty acknowledged the newly formed nation's full sovereignty. This act established the United States as a sovereign entity on the world stage. The Treaty of Paris 1783 remains a cornerstone of American diplomatic history. A significant treaty granted new territory to the nascent United States. This acquisition extended the nation's boundaries westward. The newly acquired land reached as far as the Mississippi River. This expansion dramatically increased the geographical size of the country. It provided vast new lands for settlement and development. The Mississippi River became a crucial natural boundary and trade route. The Articles of Confederation established the initial government of the United States after the Revolutionary War. This foundational document aimed to unite the newly independent states under a common framework. However, the immediate post-war period quickly exposed significant structural weaknesses within this government. A primary flaw was the absence of a strong central authority, limiting its ability to govern effectively. This lack of centralized power hindered national unity and problem-solving, leading to calls for reform. In 1787, a pivotal gathering took place in Philadelphia, Pennsylvania. Delegates from various states convened for the Constitutional Convention. The primary objective was to draft a new constitution for the United States. The existing Articles of Confederation proved insufficient for national governance. The convention aimed to establish a more robust and effective federal government. This foundational meeting ultimately shaped the structure of American democracy. A federal system is a governmental structure designed to distribute power. It carefully balances authority between a national government and individual states or regions. This design aims to prevent over-centralization of power at the national level. It also seeks to avoid excessive autonomy or independence among the states. The core objective is to create a stable and effective governance framework. The federal authority in a government system is intentionally structured with distinct divisions. This division allocates governmental responsibilities across three primary branches. These branches are the executive, legislative, and judicial, each with specific roles. The purpose of this separation is to establish a system of checks and balances. This system prevents any single branch from accumulating excessive power, ensuring governmental accountability. The Bill of Rights was an essential addition to the foundational legal framework. It specifically codified limitations on the power of the federal government. These amendments were designed to guarantee fundamental civil liberties to citizens. The Bill of Rights ensures the protection of individual freedoms. It serves as a cornerstone for safeguarding personal rights against governmental overreach. The 19th century was characterized by significant territorial expansion across various nations. This era often involved aggressive strategies to acquire new lands and resources. The United States, in particular, experienced a dramatic increase in its land area. This expansion was driven by various factors, including economic interests and geopolitical ambitions. The period reshaped global maps and had lasting impacts on indigenous populations and international relations. In 1803, the Jefferson administration initiated a significant territorial acquisition. This transaction involved purchasing a vast tract of land from France. The agreed-upon price for this immense territory was $15 million. The Louisiana Purchase represented a monumental expansion of the United States. A single historic transaction profoundly impacted the United States' territorial claims. This acquisition effectively doubled the nation's geographic size. It encompassed a vast expanse of new territory, significantly expanding the country's borders. The newly acquired lands provided immense opportunities for future settlement and development. This expansion also opened up extensive regions rich in natural resources for exploitation. The Louisiana Purchase was a pivotal moment in American history. It involved the acquisition of a vast territory from France in 1803. A primary objective was securing control of the Mississippi River. This also included the crucial port city of New Orleans. Control of these assets was vital for trade and transportation. It significantly facilitated the nation's westward expansion. Manifest destiny was a prominent cultural belief in 19th century America. It asserted that American expansion across the North American continent was divinely ordained. This ideology posited that such expansion was both justified and inevitable. It provided a powerful ideological basis for territorial acquisition and settlement. The belief system significantly fueled the westward movement of American settlers. Manifest destiny shaped national policy and public perception regarding continental growth. An ideology of expansion fueled massive westward migrations in the United States. Millions of settlers embarked on journeys along established routes, such as the Oregon Trail. These extensive migrations were instrumental in the settlement of new territories. The movement significantly shaped the geographical and demographic landscape of the nation. Manifest destiny, a 19th-century belief, fueled American expansionist ambitions across the continent. This doctrine significantly influenced the onset of the Mexican-American War in the 1840s. The conflict was primarily driven by unresolved territorial disputes between the two nations. American expansionist desires for new lands, particularly in the Southwest, intensified tensions. Ultimately, these factors culminated in the outbreak of war, reshaping North American borders. The war led to significant territorial acquisitions, reshaping the nation's geography. These newly acquired lands encompassed vast regions in the American Southwest. Key territories included present-day California, a region rich in resources and potential. Nevada and Utah were also part of these acquisitions, expanding the western frontier. Additionally, significant portions of the broader Southwest region were incorporated. This expansion dramatically extended the nation's western boundaries and influence. The federal government implemented policies of forced relocation targeting indigenous populations. These policies systematically displaced indigenous communities from their ancestral lands. The process resulted in profound human costs for those affected by the displacements. Numerous treaties and agreements with indigenous nations were broken during this period. The geographic expansion of the nation highlighted a fundamental economic and moral contradiction. This contradiction became increasingly untenable as the republic grew. It primarily refers to the growing divergence between the northern and southern regions. This divergence created significant internal tensions within the country. The northern states underwent significant industrialization, establishing a manufacturing-based economy. This economic system was characterized by factories and wage labor, forming its core. It represented a stark economic divergence from the agrarian-focused southern states. This industrial model shaped the North's societal and economic development. The southern states maintained a predominantly agrarian economy. This economic structure was heavily dependent on the forced labor of enslaved African Americans. Enslaved individuals were compelled to cultivate crops, primarily cotton. This cotton was then supplied to global markets, fueling the southern economy. The expansion of slavery into new Western territories became a critical point of political friction. This issue intensified debates between states and factions within the United States. The question of whether new territories would permit or prohibit slavery fueled national discord. This disagreement over slavery's expansion ultimately fractured the nation's political landscape. It emerged as the central and most contentious issue leading to profound national division. The election of Abraham Lincoln in 1860 marked a pivotal moment in American history. Lincoln ran on a platform explicitly opposing the expansion of slavery into new territories. His victory was perceived as a direct threat to the institution of slavery by Southern states. This perception triggered a wave of secession among several Southern states. These states formally withdrew from the United States of America. Their secession directly led to the formation of the Confederate States of America. The American Civil War, spanning from 1861 to 1865, was a pivotal conflict in U.S. history. It remains the deadliest war in the nation's history, resulting in immense human cost. The conflict was characterized by widespread devastation across the country. It involved profound societal and political divisions within the United States. The war's outcome fundamentally reshaped the nation's future and identity. The concept of industrial war emerged from the integration of technology into military conflict. This new era of warfare was characterized by the widespread use of advanced industrial capabilities. Railroads revolutionized logistics, enabling rapid troop and supply movement on an unprecedented scale. The telegraph provided instant communication, drastically improving command and control across vast distances. Mass-produced weaponry, from rifles to artillery, increased firepower and casualty rates significantly. These technological advancements fundamentally transformed the nature, scale, and impact of warfare. The American Civil War resulted in widespread devastation, particularly across the southern states. This conflict inflicted severe damage upon the infrastructure and economy of the South. Despite the destruction, a primary outcome was the preservation of the federal union. Concurrently, the war led to the complete abolition of the institution of slavery. These profound changes fundamentally reshaped the political and social landscape of the nation. The Emancipation Proclamation was issued by President Abraham Lincoln during the Civil War. It declared that all enslaved people in Confederate states were to be set free. This executive order was a pivotal step towards ending slavery in the United States. Following the proclamation, the 13th Amendment was passed and ratified. The 13th Amendment officially abolished slavery and involuntary servitude nationwide. These actions represented a monumental legal and social transformation for the nation.